Senator Alex Padilla of California. He is a member of the Judiciary Committee and ranking member of the Rules Committee. Senator Padilla, good morning. Great to have you with us. So let's talk about the Save America Act, passed through the House back in February on a party line vote, now set to be brought to the floor next week, according to Mr. Thune, for debate. Basically what the Trump administration and Republicans are saying is this is just a voter ID law, and that idea that you should present something when you go to vote, some form of ID, has wide popular support. What is your opposition to that, and what else is inside this bill that gives you concern?
Sure. Well, thank you, Willie. Good morning. First, let's get it straight. This is not a voter ID bill. This is a voter suppression, a voter purge bill, if you look into it. I try to set the stage by reminding everybody what I think is the most important lesson we all should have learned in high school civics class. Our democracy works best when as many eligible people participate. So yes, we're in the election integrity and security business, but we should be in the business of making it easier for eligible people to register, stay registered, and cast their ballot and have their ballot be counted. And all the data shows that our laws are working. The rates of ineligible people voting is extremely, extremely, extremely rare. So this bill is a solution in search of a problem. What would it do? Here's some of the examples. And not everybody has a passport, but if you require a passport to be able to go register or to be able to go vote, you're going to have the effect of eligible people not being able to vote. Or a voter ID bill, the way that it's written in a lot of states and the way it's written in this proposal, let's say a woman who chose to change her name when she got married. Now, all of a sudden, the name on her ID as it appears is different than her name as it appears on a birth certificate, creating additional bureaucracy or hoops and obstacles, really, for people to be able to cast their ballot. So it's not necessary. And of course, there's the political context. Why are we talking about this? A solution in search of a problem when we got real problems, right? The price of housing continues to go up. President doesn't seem to be caring about that. The price of healthcare is skyrocketing, but they get at healthcare to try to underwrite tax breaks for billionaires. And of course, the price of gas because of what's happening with this unauthorized war in Iran.
Good morning, Senator. I think the headlines on the votes yesterday as it relates to the Department of Homeland Security are a little misleading. It's my understanding that the Democrats were perfectly willing, in fact, forced to vote yesterday to fund all of the parts of Homeland Security that people are most concerned about, Coast Guard, TSA, but it was the Republicans that blocked that. Can you explain what actually happened there, and why are the Republicans against opening up and getting the money flowing to the various parts of Homeland Security that aren't wearing masks and whisking 5-year-olds off the sidewalks?
Right, sure. That's a very important distinction. So, number one, let's be clear. Why have we held up the Department of Homeland Security budget? Because it has to be a change. No more roving patrols, no more ICE, CBP, and other federal agents stopping people without judicial warrants, breaking into people's homes, shooting at cars with families in them. It's out of control. It's unconstitutional. It's people's rights being violated every single day. And so, what we have been willing to do is say, hey, look, we're not trying to hold up TSA. We're not trying to not pay the Coast Guard, et cetera. So Democrats have said, let's fund all the non-ICE CBP agencies within the Department of Homeland Security. Republicans aren't going for that. Yesterday, we tried one at a time. One bill to say, let's fund TSA. Republicans blocked it. Let's fund the Coast Guard. Republicans blocked it. I, along with Senator Schiff from California, said, let's fund FEMA, because it's only a matter of time before there's the next natural disaster. Republicans blocked that. They would rather maintain this partial government shutdown than work with us to fund these other agencies and bring about the needed reforms for ICE agents, for CBP agents, and others doing immigration enforcement activity.
So, Senator, speaking of the Department of Homeland Security, there's a nomination for a new Secretary of DHS, your colleague in the Senate, Markwayne Mullin, Republican, of course. Give us your thoughts on him and his qualifications for this role, and what you see in your home state of California in terms of ICE operations post-Minneapolis, when at least the rhetoric from the White House has changed a little bit. Have actions too?
Actions have changed slightly, I would say. You know, for all the attention there's been recently, rightfully so, on Minneapolis and the greater community there, the enforcement activity that we've all seen on TV and in our social media feeds have continued across the country, including in California. You don't have the intensity of the surge that we saw last summer necessarily, but it's still happening in Los Angeles. It's still happening in the Central Valley. It's still happening throughout the state, which is why, coming back to this nomination, like, look, I was the first one to celebrate Kristi Noem being gone, number one. But a change in personnel doesn't guarantee a change in policy, a change in practices, a change in protocols or procedures. That's what we need, the changes for how ICE operates. And the ideas that we've put forward, they're not crazy ideas. They're proven best practices for state and local law enforcement across the country. You know, with minimal exceptions, you can't mask your identity. You should identify yourself, the agency that you work for. You know, they have tons of money through the big so-called Beautiful Bill Act for body cams. Put them on, turn them on. No stopping people without a judicial warrant. That's just common sense. But right now, the First Amendment, or freedom of speech, is under attack. The Fourth Amendment, no unlawful detentions is being attacked. These are simple common sense reforms that I want to hear Markwayne Mullin, Senator Mullin, talk about during his confirmation hearing.
Senator, tying those 2 points together, when we started talking about the SAVE Act and now what's going on in terms of the Homeland Security. The fact is that the president has said he's not going to sign anything unless you pass the SAVE Act, which adds to many of us feeling that this is a voter suppression move geared toward the midterm elections. Is that part of the argument going on in the Senate, that this is really more about midterm elections than about identifying voters?
Hey, don't just take my word for it. Here's what Kristi Noem said a couple of weeks ago in Arizona. They need the SAVE Act so that the right people vote, her words, not mine, so that the right leaders get elected. Her words, not mine. And even Donald Trump, speaking to the House Republican Conference this last week, said, we need the SAVE Act so we can win the midterms. That's how they're going to guarantee holding on to power this November. They know their record is not just unpopular, it's been harmful for so many families, and they're about to face the consequences.
Democratic Senator Alex Padilla of California. Senator, thanks so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.